Yes, it is showtime at the cold-blooded lunch break HBCU Stroll. Man, today is a beautiful day because I got a special guest that's a living legend. Uh, I kind of turned the corner a little bit and went somewhat from a coach, a football coach, to basically a golf coach, and he'll give you the reason why. And I can't say enough about him. He's a trailblazer in black college football. Uh, he's been in black college football long before I do, and of course, he has a famous brother, and I know how I feel me coming behind so many
What's
brothers.
his
But
name?
he was the guy that was in front of the one of the greatest running backs ever run. My friend, my guy, Jacksonian, Jackson State, Eddie Payton. How you doing, Coach?
What time is it?
Game
Game
time.
time.
That's right. That's right.
I feel like running out, put on a helmet, some shoulder pads, and go run over somebody.
Man, I tell you
your
what.
intro is the best that I've ever heard.
Hey, I tell you what, man, I'm so glad that you took this time out to talk. Shoot, I thought I was popular until I told them who I was going to be talking to on Monday. And I tell you what, a lot of people think very, very highly of you.
Well, I owe a lot of people a lot of money. They're just trying to find out who I am. If you borrow a lot of money, you make a lot of friends or enemies if you don't pay them back.
Well, Coach,
I appreciate the invitation. I've been an admirer, of you and your brother since you guys started this thing, and your successful career just bled into this successful career, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
Well, Eddie, I kind of got into this because I wanted to, I don't even know why they call this a HBCU football, and I think it's kind of degrading because it's like we don't play regular football. We don't play that the field is 53 yards wide and 100 yards long, and I've talked about the disparity between PWI schools and our school. I'm talking to a coach right now, Eddie. You were what, 27 in 31 years, 27 SWAC championships, and you were the golf coach at Jackson State. And of course, I always ask my superstar coaches, have you ever been interviewed or called by PWI to be their golf coach?
No, and you're talking predominantly white university.
Institution. Correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, it does not matter what you do at HBCU because you've been pigeonholed into a situation where you're different. You do different than what's normal. And that's not the case. We tell our kids the same thing you tell your kids. We condition our kids the same way you condition your kids. They play with the same uniform, the same equipment. So what makes us different because we're successful at a black college, a historically black college? There's no difference. Either you can coach or you can't. And to make a determination that you might not be able to coach because you coach at a predominantly black school, all we ask is a chance. All we've ever asked for is an opportunity. And if you give us an opportunity, we'll make you proud.
Yeah, I want to holler at one of our very big supporters, Trey Pike. It's a guy I used to work with. He always tuned into the show, so I want to make sure I reach out to him. Yo, Eddie, sometimes I sit around and this past weekend, I was watching the USFL play, and it's another professional league, but it's another professional league with white men leading the team. I look down the sideline, there's nobody of color that's in any type of decision role. And that kind of upsets me, when I watch it. I just go ahead on and turn it off. I don't understand. You dominate the NFL, you start a new league, and we're still not getting no chances.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, the people who make the decisions about who's going to do what don't look like us. And,
right.
Black objects always tend to attract other black objects. And, I don't want to lose my job by giving Johnnie Cole a job when I can hire Joe Willie, what's his name?
Yeah.
If Joe Willie, what's his name, doesn't do a good job, he busted. If,
Yeah.
if Johnny doesn't do a good job, the word is that, hey, I made a mistake in hiring him. Now my job is in jeopardy. The same thing with the scouts and the owners and management. It's just, I mean, we're fighting uphill regardless of what we do or who we are or what mountains we climb. We're always climbing uphill trying to prove that we can. And personally, I don't think it's fair.
Well,
once we've proven, and I hate to cut you off, but
once
we've proven what we can do at this level or any level, you got to prove that what you can do at high school before you get a job in college. And if you prove what you can do in job in college, then the next step up is professional. But that's not how it works. I mean, we're good enough to coach and develop in high school, and then we'll put in black colleges because they're the only people who will give us an opportunity. And when we're successful there, that's usually where we stop. Go into radio and television.
Well, one of the things you say that we're put in the spots. Let me give you a alarming stat. Athletic directors, white athletic directors in Division I is 82% of athletics in Division I are white. In Division II is 89%, and in Division III is 90%. So it's just like you said that we also got to change the faces of people who's making those decisions. But it's always my thing, and I know we got a diverse in black college football or HBCU schools that have been history black. But in our admissions, it's nowhere to say that you got to be another color. It don't say that anybody can come to school. People choose to go where they want to go, and it's just unfortunate. It's not a lot of people of other color go to black schools, but blacks. But it's starting to change some. But my problem is that if we give away all of our jobs, then we're not gonna have none. We already, like I just said, athletic directors on Division I, II, and III are 82% and above of white, and that's why it's so hard for us to move direction. So, where you are, what's your thoughts about that?
Well, I agree because I had an opportunity to become associate athletic director at Jackson State before I retired, and they chose to go in a different direction. That was their decision, wasn't mine. But when you look at it, if we don't promote our own, if we don't develop our own within our system, people who know what it takes to be successful in our system, HBCU, if you can be successful at a black college, you can just blow the brakes off at another one. What do you call it? Predominantly white schools?
Yeah, PWI.
I mean, PWI. If you can do what most of our people are able to do at black colleges, just think what they could do if they had all the things they needed to be successful with and wasn't having to piecemeal and rob from Peter to pay Paul. I mean, it's just unbelievable. All we need is an opportunity.
Right. Let me give you another staggering statistic. In all sports, Division I, 82% of white head coaches. Division II, 84% of white coaches. Division III, 88.7% of all coaches. So I'm a history buff, and I look back at slavery, and it's a systemic racial problem in college sports. It's like we're picking the cotton. Of course, our kids are playing the game. The white assistant coaches are on the horse, and the head coach is in the house. And of course, they let a couple of us in the house. And yeah, I said it, and we got to change that. And look, it ain't their fault. It ain't our fault, of course. It's America's problem. And we got to address it, and we got to address it together. It ain't a one side, we running around. We're not saying that. We're not saying one group hate the other group. It's just something that's there that is not talked about, and it needs to be talked about, and some need to be done. If affirmative action helped us long ago, and we need that. We need the NCAA to be involved. We need the NFL to be involved. We need the Congress, the Washington, the White House to be involved to help change this problem.
But the problem is not their problem. It's our problem, because we put our people in places and they go somewhere else to hire our replacements. We don't pay it forward. I mean, if we get in a position, if you become an athletic director, you're going to look for the best possible coach available for that. And
right.
If he happens to be black, then you're going to hire him. Right. Because that's the only way we're going to get an opportunity, if we help each other. I mean, right. You get so many great black athletic directors at these universities that turn white after about a year in because they want to go along to get along. But as opposed to, we need to help and strengthen our structure from within. I mean, if you can coach and know the game, you probably make a great athletic director. You got the gift of gab and you got name recognition.
Right.
So it's up to us as individuals, as black men and women, to hire the best possible black men and women that are available who apply for that job. I mean, we wouldn't be doing anything that hadn't been done for the last 70, 80 years. We hire the best coach that's black. They hire the best coach that's white.
Right.
And unfortunately, it doesn't matter what you do as an athlete. You always question about your intelligence, your loyalty, and your knowledge of the game. But if you're smart enough to play that game at the highest level, then you probably can make a good coach. But you need to go through the steps and make your way back up there, so you know the game from the bottom up, not from the top down. I mean, I don't single out anybody, but you take a guy who's never been a coach at any level other than a volunteer at his son's high school, and you make him a head coach at a Division I university, and you expect him to be successful. Well, the only thing he knows is what he learned in the NFL, and by most parts, what you learn in NFL don't translate well to college. I mean, you have to teach kids in college. You have to develop and motivate kids in college. At the NFL, you just pay people. And if he can't play, you go get somebody who can. You just move in and out. That's not what college is about, not especially black colleges. I mean, some of the greatest players I know. You know who's the greatest walk-on player to ever play at Jackson State University?
I would like to know.
He was a walk-on. He was a walk-on. Wasn't good enough to get a scholarship at no college, black or white.
Wow.
He walked on at Jackson State in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Is it Jackson State?
Robert Brazile.
That's right, Robert Brazile. Okay.
Yep.
I had my issues with the portal.
Worst thing
everybody
ever happened.
Talking about the portal and kids bouncing from school to school. I think first of all, it hurts a disciplined coach. So now the disciplined coach is about to be past tense. Now you got to pacify all your kids so they won't transfer. Number two, to me, and most important is, what about the kid that's slow developing? Now he's lost his scholarship because he can't play. And now he's out in the street or back home with his parents and don't have nowhere to go. He could go to some junior college, or if he won't get picked up by somewhere else. This kid now is out of education that can provide for him and his family later on. Your thoughts on that?
Well, the first thing is the NCAA tells you when you sign that letter of intent, you can't lose your scholarship for lack of athletic ability. If you can't play, we just stuck with you. That used to be the case. But with the portal now, coaches be passing out play as the other coach. I got John want to transfer. He's a good player. He's going to be a great player. I get rid of John. You take John for me. Probably the worst thing that ever happened to college football, black or white. Yeah. Because it takes out the loyalty that the kids develop by being given an opportunity to play at these schools, and it makes them mercenaries. Any kid that will transfer has a problem because he's not playing, and the problem is he doesn't want to compete. If you go out and compete every day like you're supposed to do, and beat him out, you're gonna play. If you sitting around because you were Joe great in high school and think that when you get to college that it should be given to you, it just doesn't happen. They just transfer it somewhere where it is. I mean, it's too easy. The way it was, because I'm old school, the way it was the best way. If you transfer up, you have to sit out. If you transfer laterally, you have to sit out. If you transfer down, you can play right away. So, and if you transfer within your college, within your conference, you got to sit out 2 years. That will make kids stay, give coaches a chance to develop them, those slow learners, that kid who puts on 30 pounds after 2 years, and you look at him and say, where did he come from? We're not going to have a lot of that, especially in black colleges, because they're not going to stay there if they're not playing. They're not willing to pay their dues to get their opportunity. And I did. I don't know what you did, but when we were at Jackson State, I got there were 14 running backs, and 12 of them were all state somewhere. Right. But now we had coaches who said the best man is going to play. And you prove that you were the best man by being disciplined and consistent every day in practice. And that's not the case now. Kids looking at it say, I need to be playing because you told me I was going to play. Yeah. And you've invested everything you got in this kid, and you realize that I got 6 kids better than him.
Yeah, it reminds me of a kid I had at Lane College named Jacoby Jones, who was the first player ever. The first player ever drafted from Lane College in the division.
I remember Jacoby. He was a player.
But if I had that kid today, that kid would have played for me 1 year, and then all the big schools would have came down and recruited him right off my campus.
Well, that's what's going to happen.
I could have done.
That's what's going on now. If you think these kids are just transferring because they found a better place to play, no, they're being recruited. We didn't think you could play. You've proven us that you might be able to play. Come on and give us another chance.
Yeah, let me switch gears real quick because I want to make sure that people don't understand that you weren't just a golf coach. You chose to be that.
I did.
Eddie was an outstanding player at Jackson State. Before there was a Walter Payton, there was Eddie Payton. Also went on to the NFL and played for several teams. Man, just tell them about yourself, because I like folks to know I got real superstars on my show.
Well, I'm just like you, Johnny. I was Walter's roommate in high school. I was Walter's roommate in college. So most of the stuff that he learned, good and bad, he learned from me. But some things you can't take credit for. When the good Lord looks down and touches you and says, you're a running back or you a coach, that's what you are. And that Walter was one of those kids who was touched. But that being said, we played together 2 years. My senior year was his sophomore year, and I was the conference player of the year for leading the SWAC in rushing and scoring.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When he got to the NFL, he set a standard. Of course, I couldn't touch that standard, but when I got an opportunity to get to the NFL, I set my own standard so people behind me would try to catch up with what I did. And I was fortunate enough, or blessed enough to be on some teams that gave me a chance. And I proved what I could do by being consistent. And
let me ask you this for everybody to know. Why you didn't choose to coach football?
They fire football coaches at all schools. I mean, you're a winner, you're a loss to Alcorn away from being fired every year. And the reason I went back to Jackson State and I chose golf because I love the game. And Jackson State had won one championship in SWAC championship in golf in their history. And they started golf program like 1948. He won one conference championship.
Wow.
I went to Jackson State. My sister went to Jackson State, and my brother went to Jackson State, and all three of us was there at the same time. When you get an opportunity to go back and repay your university for what it's done to your family, for your family, you take whatever they have available. They needed a golf coach, and I basically volunteered for the job.
Right.
And
go ahead, finish up.
Go ahead. And have no regrets.
Right. It's you made me go back and think about the 3 times. People don't understand coaches are hired and coaches are fired. It ain't, and what we do is we character assassinate a coach when he gets fired. That's not the 3 jobs I lost. Pete Richardson let me go at Southern University. We had just won a national title there. At Alabama State, we just finished. We won 2 back-to-back division champions, and we were doing great. At Texas Southern, of course, I just had won the championship, finished number 2 in black college football, done something that nobody's ever done with the school, and I had been let go. So, people, they jump on, oh, man, he got fired. What happened? Man, it could be anything.
What did he do?
He's a bad guy. He's a bad guy, especially if you this color.
What people on the outside don't understand the difference between the people you work for and say Saban over to Alabama, all of his assistants, he helped them get to be head coaches somewhere because he taught them what they needed to know. And you teach a young person, so he'll go out and become a great person. I mean, they talk about Jimbo Fisher. He was lucky to have a job in Alabama. Saban kept him under his wing. Now he's the second or third best coach in college football. So we don't do that at our schools.
No.
We are, whatever it is, whether it's envy, jealous, insecurity, we try to get rid of a young coach who has something on the ball, can recruit and motivate. He becomes a threat as opposed to a working piece that I need. Yes. I mean, I don't see how that either one of you LC and not coaching somewhere, black or white college, because you can coach and you can recruit and you know the game. It bothers me that we are hiring somebody who's never coached at this level right off the streets and give him everything he wants.
Eddie, I say off the couch.
Yeah, and give him everything he wants. And you got guys who've proven what they can do here in this type of situation that can make something out of nothing, because most of us have a lot of nothing and very little something.
I'm great to take you back now. Jackson State has always, when I came in the conference in 1981 and we went to Jackson State, I seen 30,000 people every time I stepped in Jackson State's stadium. There's always been crowd. It's always been big time. Back when I was in school, and I know you're gonna go back deeper than me, y'all always competed against Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama on getting black players. Go ahead.
Well, what we did, we produced the type of atmosphere where a player could go and play because he was the best player, didn't have to play with politics, and compete against the best athletes on a daily basis. Hence, we had every year when there was a draft, it always started at Jackson State. The year before I got there, they had led the nation in draft charts. They had 12 kids drafted. They tied Michigan State with Bubba Smith for the number of kids drafted from a black college. And when I got there, I had 9 guys drafted out of my class. So you go to black college to play and prove that you can play at the next level. And Black teachers are real concerned about your education. What are you going to do when you're not running fast, you're not jumping high? What are you going to do to make a living? You have to be able to make a living after football. Football is an occupation. It's not a living because you're going to play for so long. And if you're not smart enough to understand X's and O's, all you can talk about is Jimmy's and Joe's, you got a problem. Yeah. And we don't stop there. We see a kid who needs some help. He's a hell of a football player. Somebody takes him under his wing, slows him down, and makes him understand what's important. These books are important. You graduated, I graduated. I graduated 3 times from 2 different schools.
Yeah. Who was your football coach back in the day?
High school?
No, Jackson State.
Robert Hill.
Bloodthirsty. Then after Robert Hill, it was.
Let's see, Coach Page, Rod Page recruited.
Right, Rod Page. That was one of our own. Then W.C. Gordon after him.
No. Then Bob Hill. Then W.C. preceded Bob Hill. And then after that, it's just been a line of coaches. I mean, everybody needs a job. But again, you got to give a coach the material he needs and time to develop. In NFL, they tell you, you get 4 years. In college football, you need the same 4 years because you got to bring your people in, get rid of the garbage, teach those people what your tradition is, what you will and you won't accept. Nowadays, we bring a coach in, and if he don't win, don't beat his rival in 2 years, we fire him and start over. It's a vicious cycle. I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to coaches like yourself. It's unfair to coaches like me. We've proven what we can do at this level, and now all of a sudden they won't give us an opportunity. And worst case scenario, we won't give us an opportunity.
That's what my show is all about. We got to quit trying to be like them and be like us. We got it.
That's right.
We got the SWAC and the MEAC. Ain't no other conference at our level average more fans, got better football players, better coaches, and the MEAC has went down the rabbit hole. They don't chase the rabbit hole. They don't broke the conference up. And all the people want is your band in your attendance. They really don't want to play you because they're not gonna go to your stadium.
They don't travel well.
You're gonna travel. They know your band gonna play, and they get to sit and watch our kids.
Get entertained.
Do their thing. And the MEAC don't got the banana in the tailpipe. Hopefully, our commissioner Charles McCullen will keep our SWAC conferences together. I know they're talking about having a super conference, which right now I think that's going to be the only thing that's going to save, quote unquote, HBCU black college football. You know,
you remember that you remember that old parable that the guy dies and goes to heaven.
Yeah.
And St. Peter meets him at the gate, and he said, if you can come up with a question that even I can't answer, then we'll let you in here. The guy looked around. He said, how many people have been on this earth? St. Peter just rolled down the list about 10 minutes. He got them all. Said, give me their names again. He just went down their list of names. He said, well, ain't but one other question I can ask you. St. Peter said, what is that? He says, when are black people going to ever learn to get along? He said, come on in. I mean, nobody can answer that question. And if we can't learn to get along as a race of people, we're falling further and further behind because we're not the minority in this country anymore.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
If we're not, the other minorities are catching up with us because they're helping each other. Right. I mean, I'm not a racist or a bigot, but every time I go to a toasting, I realize some people are helping each other and some people are not.
Yeah, yeah, and helping each other too is not taking a good guy, and let's use coaching example, and I could use myself, of instead of working with me and working through whatever issues we had, because they won life and death at Texas Southern, and we had won for the first time in 40
Mm-hmm.
years. It was great moving to a new stadium. We had got the alumni going back, following us, and then you let me go, and then now they hadn't had a winning season since I left.
Absolutely
So,
right.
well, and what did that do? It more hurt the university than helped the university, because first of all, you didn't take my job and me serious enough, and didn't understand the things that I was going through to get where we were. It wasn't like I was twiddling my thumbs sitting up at the desk. I had to be doing something, because I'm the only one ever done it in over 75 years of football. So I got that. When you're talking about help each other, don't hinder, because sometimes you can put your friend in a position and he don't know the position. Now you hinder
Yeah.
everybody around. You put everybody.
But that's what we've been doing.
So
We've
those are
been
things
putting our friends
so you
into
30.
these positions that not ready for the position, as opposed to putting them in a position, bring them along so they can learn, so they get to the point when you feel confident that they are ready. In your case, I think you, as the old folks said, what happened to you, you should be pregnant. For what they did to you in Texas, so you should be pregnant. I mean, you should. That's the nicest way I can put it on in front of all your great fans. But you're not the only one. I mean, you
Right.
count
Oh
the
no,
great
ain't no question.
black coaches when they retired or got fired, got hired somewhere else.
Yeah.
Most of them are
It's
retired.
almost like when you become a head coach at a black school, and you lose
That's where you
position.
stop.
It's like you might as well go ahead on retire. It don't matter what
That's
age.
it.
Nobody else is gonna hire you. Let me
Nope.
say something about you. You out of 31 years of being a golf coach, you won 27 SWAC championships. Is there a place around now? I saluted Mississippi Valley State when I had Willie Titan. They named a stadium after him and Jerry Rice. And of course, your brother done a great, outstanding job. They got a building named after him. But 27 SWAC championships out of 31 years. Is there a place in Jackson State that they could say Eddie Payton was here and this is what he's done and his greatness? Do y'all even have a golf team?
We don't. Now they've dropped the golf program. I do not know why. I've heard rumors that they're thinking about bringing it back, but when you get to where you're 21st in the nation, historically black college, and you get to 21st in the nation, you got 90% of the kids who are playing for you on partial or full academic scholarships. You raise $92,000 a year so they can travel, play, and dress. You had companies that are asking you to wear their equipment so you can represent them, and then you stop. All of that stops. So to start from scratch, you'd be starting from where I started. We didn't even have golf bags when I took over the program.
But see, Eddie, this is what we don't do, and we talked earlier about we don't love each other. Your last name, your Payton name, should go down in empathy with Jackson State. It should never go away.
Well,
and I can say one thing about the PWIs. That's what they do.
They take care of their own.
They don't let history. They keep history there.
You're absolutely right. They appreciate history. They appreciate history and success of their people. And they want everybody who follows, generations to follow, to be able to come back there and say, who is this guy? This is what he did. All you do is tell them why this guy's up here. We're the other way around. I looked at the Walter Payton complex over on our campus at Jackson State. They're knocking down walls to put football lockers in there. And it wasn't designed for that. So again, if you don't appreciate history, then you'll never repeat the success that you had in your history. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we're on the outside looking in, but I'm an alumnus. I have an opinion. But now, our alumnus who don't put in any money can't have an opinion.
Well, I'm telling them
you don't have a platform because you don't put in enough money to have a platform or an opinion.
Well, I'm telling them alumni they need to do something for Eddie Payton over there at Jackson State. Well, look here, Coach.
They graduated me. My daughter played 4 years of golf for me. Made all swag 4 times. Was the player of the year 2 times. Went to 4 NCAA. That's all they needed to do for me. Put me in a place so I could put her in a place to be successful.
Thank you, Coach.
Now,
well, look.
What I'd like to do is I'd like to be a celebrity like you are.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
no,
dude.
you don't. A lot that comes with that now. People look at you different and take you different. But Coach, your last words. I'm gonna change subject. We got another subject to talk about, the last part. But I can't say enough about how great you are, and I've watched you, and I've known what you've done and the things like that. Any last words?
Well, I watch your program. I caught Titan when he was on and Coach Spears when they were on, and I said, this Cole guy, he got something good going on over there. And I'm fortunate enough to get on his show. People think I got it going on, so I appreciate you. I owe you.
Well,
checks in the mail.
But look, it ain't over. I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna definitely got to bring you back. You're interesting. A lot of people, you got a lot of folks following you and wishing you well, and I thank you for coming on to the show.
Well, I appreciate the invitation because, as the young folks say, you're up and coming, and I just want to get caught in your waves so I can get pulled forward. So one day I'll have my show. And
I love you.
The Eddie Payton and Johnnie Cole show. That'll work. That sounds good. That sounds good. But again, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you do. I respect what you do. I respect you as a coach. I'm telling you, you two Cole boys as a coach. Can I say N-word on your show? No, I can't. But look, you two Cole boys as the coaches is N-words. I know.
We love you. Now, Coach, when me and LC come to Jackson, we're going to come and watch a game. We come to get you. We come to pick you up.
I live on a golf course. Bring your clubs. I got a lake 5 miles from my house that's full of brim, bass, and crappie. You don't even need to bring a pole. Just bring an attitude. I'll provide everything else.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
You're always welcome. Keep up the good work, and God bless.